What's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. I'm Ron, and I am finally back after missing a few days, being sick. I got sick over Halloween weekend. I just want to say thank you so much for all of the, hope you get better, hope you feel better. Hang in there, Ron. I got tons and tons of comments, messages, everything from you guys. You guys are truly the best. Now, honestly, don't worry about me. I've been taking some time to sort of recharge a little bit here. And really what it came down to is I don't think I was all that sick. I didn't get COVID or anything. I just kind of had like a stuffy nose and I was coughing all over the place. I just didn't feel like being on camera and exposing that to you guys. This mic picks up literally everything, especially over the summer. We literally got COVID and we didn't miss a day of uploads in August. So I just felt like I deserved the time to just sort of step back, get right for you guys. And that's where we're going to bring the energy today. We're going to talk through one day late, our top 5 must buy and sell trade targets for week 9 of the fantasy football season. We're going to go through 3 buys, 2 sells. We're going to try and speed this up a little bit since, again, this is a day late. I don't want it to be too much of a drag here. Now, if you enjoyed the video, make sure down below, subscribe, leave a like. Let's go.
Thirsty, trying to choose. I know I'm critical. My nitty bag.
Now, first up here, we have Amon-Ra St.Brown as our first buy here, and he's a screaming buy to me. This is a guy who, since being the wide receiver 4 after weeks 1 and 2, back-to-back 20-plus huge games, this was a guy we were going to say top 6 wide receiver rest of season. I even had a tweet that was like, man, I was at probably like 9% Amon-Ra St.Brown across Dynasty and Redraft. That's about on the market. I was like, man, I wish it was double that. He looks like such a league winner right now. Since then, since week 3 on, he is the wide receiver 61, averaging 8.6 PPR points per game. That's not good. But there's some positive news here. He had his first top 24 finish since week 2 last week against the Dolphins, but it wasn't this big explosion we thought it was going to be. It was just 13.9 PPR points, and this is why we're buying. First of all, he is now back, and it wasn't a huge explosion, and this was the first week that he's been over a 30% snap share since week 3. So he finally had a full game. He was out there for the entire time, and he's still commanding targets. From weeks 3 on a per route basis, he has a 27.8% target per route run, and that is extremely solid. So we're buying the talent here. We're buying the fact that he can earn targets. And I hate looking at small sample splits here, but I think it's just a nice cherry on top of why we should buy Amon-Ra St.Brown. And if we look at his splits with and without TJ Hawkinson just got traded to the Vikings. He averages 25 points per game without TJ Hawkinson. He averages 11.78 with Hawkinson. Now, obviously, that has some of the beginning of his rookie year mixed in there, but it's still something interesting to look at. So if I could buy him for fringe wide receiver 1 prices, like somewhere in like that wide receiver 13, 14, 15 area, because I'm telling you, people are out there souring on Amon-Ra St.Brown. Remember, if you have him, he hasn't really given you a good week since week 2. If you could maybe bundle a small piece plus a like Aaron Jones or Amari Cooper or Terry McLaurin, even like Deonta Foreman and a bigger piece, and go out there and get Amon-Ra St.Brown, I would. Again, a lot of these calculators, a lot of the rest of season rankings have him around like wide receiver 12 to 15. He's my wide receiver 7 in my rest of season rankings. Now, our next buy candidate here is Leonard Fournette. And it seems like people are sleeping on Fournette. This is a trade calculator that is from, I believe, Peaked in high school. He's like huge on Reddit. As you guys know, like I love that guy Subvert It Down, who's from Reddit, and he does like the defense and kicker stuff. I came up on Reddit. I think that's something that people don't really know, but like before we even had 100 subs, dude, I was pushing videos on Reddit. I was showing it to Reddit. We were getting downvoted to hell, dude. I think I'm literally banned on r/fantasy football. So all of these resources from Reddit that I use is honestly just from like home and comfort. Because I think that as much toxicity is out there on Reddit, there's a couple good resources that you're now seeing like people from that wave of Reddit, I guess, kind of like get hired and stuff. I think Peaked in high school, this guy who does the trade charts, that I've known about since like, I want to say 2020, 2019. I want to say that he works for 4for4 now. But here's the trade chart here. And I kind of forget how he comes about making these, but they're community based. And here's the issue I have with Fournette's valuation right now. He's right next to like Miles Sanders, Dameon Pierce. But for me, I have him in that big tier of fringe RB1s. Anywhere you want to slot him in between Kenneth Walker and DeAndre Swift, go ahead. But I don't think that he deserves to be a tier behind guys like Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift. I think he's right in that mix to me, maybe at the bottom end of that mix, but he's in there. He's in that tier for me at the very least. Now, when we look at Leonard Fournette's production, he is under 15 touches in each of his last 2 games, but those were weird game scripts, right? They lose to the Panthers, they go out here, they lose to the Ravens in like a weird Thursday night game, but he's still seeing what we want to see for his profile. Through week 5, when he was doing really well, he was 3rd in high-value touches, averaging 6 per game. High-value touches are targets and touches inside of the 10-yard line. So he was averaging 6 per game through week 5, which was 3rd among running backs. And over the last 3 weeks here, he's still at 5.7 high-value touches per game, which is 6th among running backs over that span, ahead of guys like ETN, Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, all of those guys. So he's still giving you those, inside the 10 plus targets every single game. And he's also looked fine in expected points per game, which we love to look at. And expected points per game is just based on your carries, your red zone usage, your targets. How many fantasy points should you be putting up? And he looks fine, right? He's at 15.5 points per game. Or no, this is 18.1 points per game through the last 4 weeks. And, it's right in that mix where he's in between, the Saquons, the Derrick Henrys, the Kamaras, the Ecklers, the Dalvin Cooks that are below him. I sort of put like a red dash below all of him, but you have Dalvin Cook, Josh Jacobs, Mixon, Aaron Jones, Taylor, Chubb. And I believe even if you want to take out I believe that he had like a huge blow-up game 4 weeks ago. If you want to take that out, he goes on like 15.5, but he's still ahead of guys like Dalvin Cook, Dameon Pierce, Ken Walker, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb. So he's still getting volume. He's still seeing high-value touches. Yes, Rachaad White has sort of eaten into his workload, but that's kind of fine just because of how valuable his touches are, that he doesn't need to have like 25, Derrick Henry type rushes per game. He can get there just on efficiency. I think this offense is going to get better. They're going to get back on track soon here. They have 2 home games against the Rams and the Seahawks. Maybe one of those shoot out. I do think that he's a good bet to still score touchdowns. And again, he's just somebody for me that I think is in the RB1 mix. And if you can buy for RB2, Miles Sanders type numbers, like if I could go out there and do, I wouldn't hate like Miles Sanders and Deonta Foreman for Fournette, but I think that might actually be buying a little bit high there. You know what I mean? But if I could take, something in that area and sort of tier my way up, like if I could go like Najee or Pollard and add like Deonta Foreman to that and get into a Fournette, anything like that, I think I would be into, just for a team out there where maybe your RB1 got hurt or something and you're just looking for, a hero RB. I think Fournette fits that mold as like the cheapest RB1 you can buy right now. Now, our last buy here is one that I think you guys are sick of seeing. I think that we've only had him one other time up here, but Darren Waller. I think that if you are out here and you are, what week are we even on? Week 9, and you're out here 7-1, 8-0, and your tight end maybe was Njoku, right? Maybe it was Njoku. Maybe you're out here starting like Hayden Hurst every week and Evan Ingram every week. Maybe you just have been streaming tight end all year, or you have like Taysom Hill. I think a nice buy to get like elite tight end production down the stretch is Darren Waller. And according to these trade targets, he can be had for literal pennies. Again, he hasn't suited up in a while. If an owner is out there losing and is in a must-win week and they can't wait for Darren Waller to come back, and he's not even a lock to play this week, I think you have to go out there and send offers. Like, look how crazy low he is here. He's behind the Higbee, Hawkinson, Ertz of the world. He can be had for Jeff Wilson's, Nyheim Hines, Romeo Dobbs's, Wan'Dale Robinson's. Like, you can buy him for crazy cheap. So if I could buy him for anything like on this screen or anything remotely close to what the screen has, or if you want to give him whatever tight end you've been starting, let's say you want to give him your like Hayden Hurst or your Everett or your Schultz, and you want to get his Waller and you just put something a little bit on top. Like if you could do like Everett and Deonta Foreman for Waller, and maybe even you would maybe even want kickback on that, but something in that area where you could go out there, upgrade your tight end. Now, there's no guarantee that Waller is going to be the Waller that we've known, but I think that he's probably the cheapest upside shot at elite tight end production for, the fantasy playoffs and beyond. I think he's nice. He was 9th in targets per game, ahead of Njoku, Pitts, Goddard through 4 weeks. You know what you're signing up here. You know what you're signing up for here. It's Darren Waller. Again, there's no guarantee he gets back to that elite level, but I think that he is a nice upside swing for, 7-1, 6-2 plus type teams that have the cushion to lean into that kind of variance. Now, let's go to the other side of things. We'll talk about sells here. And our first sell candidate, Deonta Foreman. And he was a sell last week. He's going to stay on this list after, again, exceeding all expectations. He is the RB4 in fantasy the last 2 weeks, averaging 24.2 points per game. And just knowing who the Panthers have been and who Foreman is means we should probably be selling. We have Hubbard, who's going to come back either this week or next week. And this offense, I'm sorry, I struggle to believe, even as much as I've liked P.J. Walker here and DJ Moore, I struggle to believe they're going to sustain this level of efficiency from here on out, right? Rest of season, they had a game against the Falcons, who are a notoriously bad defense. Before that, they had the Buccaneers, which was a convincing win. But I have a hard time seeing him just be this ultra valuable running back rest of season. Again, I don't think that the offense or him can sustain this efficiency. This is what it comes down to, though. I'm not saying if you have Foreman on your team, go out there and sell him. If you are running a hero RB or zero RB team and he's going into your lineup every single week and you're getting these points on your team, feel free to let that ride. But if he is rotting away on your bench because you have like a Saquon and Swift team, or you have like Dameon Pierce, Kenneth Walker, you have, two running backs that are studs, maybe even have depth behind that like a Khalil Herbert, I think in that spot, you can move off from Foreman, especially in this trade chart. He is valued above like this huge tier of wide receiver from like Sutton, Ayuk, Judy, Boyd, Cooks, Thielen. I think I would probably swap him for any of these wide receivers in this tier. Maybe not like a Lazard, or, even Boyd and Cooks don't feel that great, or even Pickens, but somebody in this area. If you could get a wide receiver that kind of looks like that, or if you can bundle him with a piece and go out there and buy like an Amon-Ra St.Brown or Chris Godwin, I think I would be into that. Now, we have the same story here with another running back, and it's Antonio Gibson, who over the last 2 weeks has been the RB12 in points per game. Here's the issue. His role hasn't changed. He still has a really low ceiling, like low floor type role here, where it is still a three-way backfield. He's still seeing about 30 to 40% of the snaps here. By the way, this chart is from Dwayne McFarland over on, I think, PFF now, or formerly PFF, now Fantasy Life, but he does a utilization report. Probably the most must-read article every week of the season, where he comes out and tells you kind of how many snaps this guy playing, how many routes, how many targets, all that. So you can kind of get a feel for what these roles look like. And again, it's still a three-way split. He's still seeing 30 to 40% of the snaps. McKissick is dominating the passing down and 2-minute drill stuff. That's the LDD snaps and 2-min snaps. Those are the clear passing down situations and the 2-minute drill. If you want to be a, Alvin Kamara type receiving back in this league, you need to be on the field in those spots. He's not. He's not even on the field for like over half of the snaps in these games. It's a three-way backfield. Brian Robinson is still taking stuff from him between the 20s. You still have McKissick out here taking away passing down stuff. So like if I could sell after these two big games, I would, right? So if I could sell him for something in this Foreman area, right? So I think that he's also on this screenshot where, so he is Michael Carter, Antonio Gibson. If you could get off of Antonio Gibson and get into one of these guys, Sutton, Ayuk, Judy, I think is fun. I do think that Adam Thielen is even fun, but I think that might even be an undersell. Or again, bundle him up, grab somebody in that Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chris Godwin area. Now, that is going to do it for us today. As always, we've still been keeping up with the Patreon content schedule while I've been sick. So if you guys out there want your rest of season rankings, your weekly rankings, all of that good stuff, that'll be on the Patreon, patreon.com/Ron Stewart. It'll be down below in the description. It'll be down below at the top of the comments below. I said below twice, but again, thank you guys so much for checking in on me, making sure that I'm doing fine. I promise I'm feeling much better. Today felt like the first day where I wanted to get on camera and talk with you guys. I just felt like, I don't know. Again, this might pace up everything, dude. You guys don't want to hear, especially in season when we're not editing a ton of these videos. You guys don't want to see me sniffling and coughing all over the place. So we're all good. We're going to do another video. We'll have a video out on Friday, and then I'm going to be doing my Dynasty Rankings update for this week. So there's going to be a Saturday stream, and then we'll get back to our full week of content schedule next week. I plan on doing every 4 weeks. So, right, we just wrapped up week 8. I'm doing the Dynasty Rankings now. Once we wrap up week 12, I'll do that, and then I'll probably wait until the end of the season to do another one. Now, that is going to do it for us today. As always, I appreciate any of you guys that came through, checked out the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.
I got the juice, I got the juice.
Channel, Chatham's on. Foolies glad I'm home. Even my haters kinda glad I'm on. Rest in peace to my vagabond. Rapper, song, singer, suspended, subpoena from misdemeanors.